to talk about overall trends within the industry with our next guest, who founded one of the top 10 blogs in the world, according to the blog ranking service Technorati. It's also been featured by Bloomberg Businessweek as one of the most profitable blogs. Pete Cashmore, founder and CEO of Mashable, is here with me. Typically, when we have you on, you're from Skype via Scotland.
Yeah.
It's so great to have you here in studio. Tell me, what are the top issues in technology that you're watching right now?
So right now, it's really the debate about open versus closed, which is to say, I heard you mention earlier Adobe versus Apple, where Apple's essentially saying we don't want Flash on our devices. Apple's a closed system, so they can say we don't want this on our device, and that sticks. There's also big debate over Facebook privacy right now. Facebook's launched something called instant personalization, which means that whenever you visit a website that has Facebook's code on it, the website will change to fit you. It'll look at your information and say, well, you have these friends, so I'm going to serve you up this particular content.
And that's that little like button that you can see now on Facebook.
Right.
Where you can sort of indicate your preferences. When
you go to those websites, it'll now show you what your friends liked on that site to kind of personalize it for you. Now, that's an opt-out system, so if you're on Facebook, you're in there by default. And there's some debate over whether that should have really been an opt-out system or an opt-in system. A lot of people are kind of freaked out when they go to these websites and see personalized content for them.
So the like button, in reading up for this segment, I was seeing that it may potentially be a threat to Google in some ways.
Absolutely. So what Facebook is doing, and this is another reason why it's a closed system, is all the data that's coming from this like button is going to Facebook. So Google can't necessarily crawl all that data. And what Google does right now is it crawls all the links on the web, and those count as votes for particular pages, and that's how it ranks websites. So right now, Facebook is trying to gather all the data about what websites people like, and perhaps it could, at some stage, rank websites itself and do a better job than Google.
So meaning, if you go into Google and search something, the data that's being collected by Facebook wouldn't show up in those search results.
Absolutely, and that's a problem for Google because they don't have any data about people's preferences.
Interesting. They have made somewhat of a business, or they've experimented with the data gathering. We've seen that play out in the news sector here. So could we see Facebook potentially have the means to create another arm of the business?
I think Facebook has endless opportunities right now. They're really at a point where they could be the next Google. They could be the next big public company. And I think Facebook is the one that everyone has their eye on, came out of nowhere. They could get into all kinds of businesses, from search to news, anything that involves personalization and gathering data.
Now, take me back to this debate about open versus closed with Adobe and with Apple. We may see some regulatory changes, or challenges at least.
I think that's possible. Apple has been doing this for a long time. They've tried for a long time to prevent other browsers, apart from their own Safari browser, from getting onto the iPhone, because obviously they want to build market share for that. They have kind of stepped back a little on that and started allowing a few browsers on there. They've also upped their rules, so they're not allowing, for instance, adult apps, and there's some debate over what Apple thinks is adult. So I think Apple, may need to push back a little bit and open up if they're not going to get into trouble about blocking all these apps. They really are blocking because it's anti-competitive.
Interesting. We're going to have to continue to track that. Thank you so much for telling us what's on your radar here.
Great to be here.
Pete Cashmore here in studio, founder of Mashable.